morning, good afternoon, good evening, or I'm February. This is Eagle Eyes on Tech. I am Eagle Falcon. This is going to be a very interesting podcast today. Very, very interesting. For one primary reason. And that reason is, well, we'll get to that later. Basically, Twitch announced something huge, and that's going to be the primary focus of today. I've got a lot to talk about that. I want to get a few things out of the way first. And the first things first is this little article from PC Perspective. Happy Monday. That shiny new graphics card you've been eyeing just got even more expensive. This is something that I don't know how else to put this. It's important that this is known because we are starting to creep into the era where the New Year games are starting to come out. And so everyone is starting to look at upgrading their computers right now. Those of us who are in the PC market. Because the new games come out. The new games require more hardware in order to max them out. They look even prettier. This is the yearly cycle that PC users go on. Sometimes they skip a year. In my case, almost every year I skip a year until my computer is absolutely 100% obsolete. And then, oh, you get the idea. Here's what's been going on. I've been kind of keeping an eye on various stories, such as RAM production has been going up, demand for graphic cards has been going up due to the new surge in Bitcoin mining, even though it's for Ethereum, not Bitcoins, but more people understand what Bitcoin mining is than what Ethereum mining is. You get the idea. But finally, this article actually gives us an idea what this all means. What it means is that the NVIDIA cards, the cards that are normally usually preferred for the gaming market, their prices are going to jump somewhere between 3 and 10%. 3%'s not that big a deal. I mean, that's just your $500 graphic card costs $15 more. In the grand scheme of things, that's not that big a deal. 10%, though, that's something where you start considering going down a peg. Your $500 1080 suddenly becomes $550. Then you start contemplating maybe I'm better off with a 1070 instead. Even though that's going to go from whatever a 1070's at. 1070's at like what, 250-ish? So that means that'd be 275. Who knows? 10% is kind of at a point where it does start making a difference. And the unfortunate thing is that with the supply of VRAM being less and less right now, it does mean that the card prices are just going to go up. On top of that, with the dawn of the ridiculous, underline ridiculous, Bitcoin mining motherboard we discussed last week, which could house what? It was something like 25 some graphic cards. It was silly. Absolutely silly. that may make some greedy Bitcoin miners want to buy up more cards, which is going to shorten the supply, which is going to make cards cost more. Now, according to this article, AMD's new offerings are not affected by this. That's maybe because AMD doesn't use standard VRAM, they use what's called HBM2. It's a different style of VRAM and it's not affected by this. However, the new AMD Vega cards, which is what it's referring to, is more than likely going to see a spike if the Ethereum miners realize the Vega cards are good at Bitcoin mining. Are they? Who knows? I haven't seen anyone actually test the Vega for Bitcoin mining. It is a new architecture. There is a chance that it's not going to be very good at Bitcoin mining. Then again, the AMD architecture seems to accidentally be better at it, so it's hard to say. The point is that, yes, graphic card prices are going to go up. The new AMD Vega cards are not affected by this right now, but I don't see any signs in the near future of it going down. So just be aware, prices are going to go up and they're going to keep going up for graphic cards. Important things to know. And with that, let's move on to something sillier, although still important. Alright, we talked about early release information about the new Intel Xeon processors. Xeon processors are normally used for industrial applications. Servers, CAD workstations, that sort of thing. Gamers never use Xeons unless they're silly. Mainly because Xeons are usually more expensive and they can't be overclocked. Which is why they're not really sought after for gaming. On top of that, Xeons usually favor higher core counts and lower clock speeds. Because industrial applications love more cores. And the clock speed doesn't affect it all that much. So why am I talking about it? Because A, if you are ever in the market, like I usually am half the time, of looking at used workstation equipment, it's good to know what's out currently to see what you can look forward to down the road. It's very easy for someone to go get a workstation from 2, 3, 4 years ago, pop in a good graphic card in it, and have a pretty good, respectable budget gaming system on the cheap. It's what I use, and it's fantastic. My primary rig is an HP Z workstation, and my streaming rig is a Precision laptop. Both are fantastic for what I do. So knowing what's out now lets you know what you can see in the future. And also lets you start coming up with ridiculous things like, what's the highest end gaming rig you can build if you had infinite money? A silly thing to think about, but still kinda hilarious to find out just how powerful a stupid overpowered rig could be. So, the Xeons this time around are in 2 categories. And I mean 2 completely different categories. Not like there's this tier of Xeon, then this there's not the 1000 series tier, then the 3000 series tier, then the 5000 series tier, and then the 7000 series tier. Those all use the same socket. These are 2 completely different sockets that are used. First we have the Intel Xeon W processor, and these are out now. This is the official announcement from Intel. This is no longer speculation. This is no longer based on leaks. This is actually happening. There's the Intel Xeon W Works processor. These are more focused on kind of mainstream mid-range workstations. Things that are used for, like, say, medical imaging, or CAD students, or light engineering. These processors will go up to... Let me make sure I have my facts right. These processors go all the way up to 4.5 gigahertz turbo boosted. So that's at the absolute highest end, built-in overclock, the turbo boost. Up to 18 cores, which with hyperthreading means up to 32 threads, and can handle up to 512 gigabytes of RAM. This means up to 1.87 times improvement over if you're refreshing on a 4-year refresh, and 1.38 times improvement over last gen. Excuse me, sorry about that. And keep in mind, this is the bottom tier. 18 cores, 4.5 gigahertz. That's insane. So what's the high tier? What's the highest end Xeon I could get if I had infinite money? Well, up to 4.2 gigahertz turbo boosted. But again, Xeons are usually built for the core count and the thread count. Gigahertz don't help professional applications all that much. Still, 4.2, not something to sneeze at. Neither is this. Up to 56 cores. And up to 112 threads. Up to 3 terabytes of supported RAM. Which means a 2.7 times performance improvement on a 4-year refresh and a 1.65 times improvement compared to last year. Now, for those who also don't know, one of the things about Xeons that makes them extremely helpful in workstation applications, like I said, professional applications love core counts. In fact, a lot of your high-end workstations and servers use multiple CPUs in the same box. In fact, my Z workstation has 2 CPUs in it. This means that 512 gigabytes of RAM, that 18 cores, the 36 threads on the baseline, double it. And that's the highest end you can have on that build. And for the Platinum, 112 cores, 224 threads, and 6 terabytes of RAM at the max. On one board, in one computer. You are starting to get close to what supercomputers from 4 years ago have for performance. And those are built on hundreds of nodes, of servers, all thinking together as one. In one box, you have a small supercomputer. That is insane. Literally insane. So why the sudden shift? Why the sudden boost? There's two reasons for this. One, because Intel can. And two, because AMD finally is knocking at Intel's door. Because AMD finally figured out how to compete with Intel after almost 10 years of being so far behind compared to Intel. It was hilarious. So as the upcoming years come and Intel processors get much, much, much faster and much, much, much better, everyone's going to say, you know, it's all because of the new processors in the phones and all that, which for whatever reason, the name of it just slipped my mind. What is it? Why can't I remember the name? Man. Alright, that's driving me nuts now. Because I should know this. This is starting to now drive me nuts. I can't remember the name of the architecture of the small chips. God, it's driving me nuts now. Whatever. I guess it doesn't matter. It's not the new Qualcomm chips, the new Tegra chips. It's not that technology. Which I know in like 30 minutes it's going to hit me like a brick and I'm going to feel stupid. It's not that pushing Intel. It's AMD. It's AMD pushing at the x86 level 2 to say, hey, Intel, we're going to compete with you at the high end again. Now what? And granted, Threadripper is still an extremely good chip. At a pretty good price point, too. And it's good to see Intel having to try again. Because I've been getting sick of seeing Sandy Bridge to Ivy Bridge only having a 5% improvement, Ivy Bridge to Haswell only having a 6% improvement, Haswell to Broadwell having a 4% improvement, Haswell to Skylake having an 8% improvement, that sort of thing. That's been getting annoying. Seeing, oh yeah, we're coming out with new stuff, and it's just like, oh, okay, bye. In the end, the high-end CPU wars have begun again. Thank Lord. Finally. Alright. I want to revisit the Bebo topic I talked about last week. Last week, I talked about Bebo a little bit, and granted, I was pretty harsh on them. And admittedly, I was pretty harsh on them because I wanted to give them a shot, and it turned out at the state they were, the software was just unusable for what I do for streaming. And it was kind of disappointing to see that. So, what's happened since then? Well, someone from Bebo actually did get in touch with me. His name is the Tyler Hayes. He's apparently one of the administrators in Bebo, and he did actually link to me Bebo's roadmap, what they're planning on working on. And in fact, the next two things they're working on, well, right now they're working on a few minor issues such as GPU encoding, capturing streaming performance, improving on that, Twitch chat in-app, and just quote, my audio sucks. So they're doing some quick fixing right now. Up next on it is multiple scenes, which, if you know anything about Twitch streaming or streaming in general, that is huge and almost necessary. Being able to switch from scene to scene to scene is important. Capture card support, which that's one of the main reasons I couldn't use it. I use a capture card for basically everything, connecting my two computers. Push to mute, that's not as important, but still important. Reordering source layers, extremely important. Noise gate, I have no idea what they're referring to there. Other than maybe auto ducking. Which doesn't say. And then after that, they're working on 1080p 60 frames per second streaming, co-streaming. The co-streaming bit is going to be a big improvement. That's one thing that a lot of people want to do, but there's major limitations, and currently the only platform that supports that is Stream.me, which doesn't exist. Oh my god, Stream.me is just worthless. And I was about to say Beam, but Mixer is the other one that does co-streaming. That means two people streaming simultaneously in one feed. Face filters, that's not that important. Voice modification, not that important. Add moderators. I'm not entirely sure what add moderators means, but yeah, okay. Bring back loot boxes. I didn't realize they actually removed their loot box system, but hopefully music player song request, that's a big deal. More hotkeys, Stream Deck integration, and the one thing I wish was higher up in the list, the Chroma Live preview. What does Chroma Live preview mean? Alright, so here's a little bit of a behind the scenes sort of thing when it comes to working with a green screen. When I am streaming on Twitch, I use a green screen. There is a giant piece of green fabric behind me, and it's lit up with two umbrella lights. And then the software does what's called chroma key, which means to take everything that is a certain color and remove it and make it transparent. That's how you get the effect of just a person there with nothing in the background behind them except for whatever else you want. Usually the rest of the game. It is extremely difficult to chroma key and make sure you get it right. Being able to see it live before you go live is very, very nice. Because that way you can make sure behind the scenes you're tweaking it and making sure everything is perfect before you go live and present yourself to everyone. Because it never looks good to be doing troubleshooting on the fly, on the go. Then other features they're working on down the road right now is multiple cameras and mics, custom chat commands, crop camera and overlays, donation goals and GameWist integration. Honestly, nowadays, Bebo, if you're listening to me, don't worry about the GameWist integration, just because of how big the Twitch affiliate program is. GameWisp isn't all that essential, but I get why it's so far on your back burner. I get that. Advanced cam, mirror delay circle, and all that jazz. Mouse cursor, more loot box perks, and recording. I didn't even realize recording wasn't part of Bebo. I would actually put recording higher than that, just because being able to record with your capture software is also important. To be able to put up a version of your past stream that is without any sort of packet loss. It happens all the time when you're streaming. Something happens with your connection, you drop some frames, there's a chunk that just suddenly goes missing, there's quality loss. All sorts of things can happen when you're live. Being able to record and being able to upload the past stream with none of that is really nice. I would actually put recording higher on the to-do list. And so here. Aoshaw in the chat asks, so will this be free? I'll use it. Will it really use less than OBS with all those features? Right now, it uses a lot less CPU than OBS. OBS does use a lot of use a lot of CPU, and just making sure you keep that optimization. I'd say it's pretty easy for Bebo to keep on its development train to have all these features and use less CPU. Especially since one of the other killer things in OBS that eats your CPU is your Twitch alerts, your Streamlabs. Streamlabs tends to also not be very optimized and also hog a lot of CPU. As far as will it remain free, I do believe Bebo is going to remain free. As far as Bebo's income stream, I want to say, and granted, I'm having a hard time remembering if this is true or not. I should probably look this up before I declare it being true. That might be the smart thing to do. I still can't remember what the architecture is for smartphone chips. That's driving me nuts too. Yeah, I can't find it anymore. And it's mostly because Bebo's now switched from being just a bot to an entire OBS competitor. There's that. But as far as I know, it is going to remain free. What they plan on doing is taking a cut of any revenue that is made on people buying loot boxes. Or buying coin. No, I think it's buying coins for the bot. Then coins are used for various interactions with Bebo, such as purchasing loot boxes or just purchasing features outright, like playing GIFs on stream, song requests, and that sort of thing. And again, I don't know if that's still their plan. I know that was their plan back when they were just a bot. Their plan for revenue might be changing down the road. How does OBS make money? They don't. OBS is just an open source project. Pretty much people donate their time to OBS, they contribute, and it just keeps going. OBS pretty much just sustains itself on just donations. So yeah, we now have a picture of what Bebo's going to be doing on the road. I have a lot of hopes for it. We'll see how it evolves. But here's the other thing. This entire roadmap that they have laid out here, this could all be seeing massive changes. And I do mean massive changes All due to one announcement made by Twitch. We got a little sneak peek of this a couple months ago now, in fact. I stumbled upon this little beta thing within Twitch. Now it's made official. Twitch Extensions has been officially announced. Now, just the name Twitch Extensions just sounds boring. I mean, what do you think about when you hear Twitch Extensions? Oh, I guess apps can integrate it with Twitch. Whatever. That already happens now. Well, not really. This basically means that Twitch's API is more flexible. Well, big whoop. Already there's tons of bots on Twitch and blah, 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 blah. That doesn't affect anything. Wrong again. This allows for Twitch channel customization and interaction like you've never seen on any platform ever. The next closest thing is what formerly Beam.pro, now Mixer. Whatever, does, in which you can build up a currency and interact with the streamer that way, like have a sound play and that sort of thing. And actually have buttons under the stream to do that. Twitch Extensions takes that concept and goes 8 levels higher than that. It allows for things like viewers being able to click on the stream and making for everyone to see a shape that everyone works together at. It allows viewers to, whenever they want, click a button and see the streamer's stats on a certain game that only they will see. So if viewer A hits a button to look at, say, my terrible Overwatch record, viewer B doesn't see that. Only viewer A sees it. Viewer B can still click the same button and then see that. And they can see it live, as an ill edit on the fly, as I would continue to play and continue to be terrible. If a streamer is playing a Hearthstone, viewer A can click a button and see what the deck list is, and it doesn't affect viewer B's viewership. And fortunately, I was worried though I never said it on the air. I was afraid that when the Twitch extensions were coming out, that a lot of this was going to be in-house with Twitch. And as much as I hate to say it, more and more Twitch's in-house stuff is usually pretty bad. It's usually pretty much a bug mess and just an awful launch, and eventually it gets stabilized, kind of. Unless it's their mobile app. Then it's just a glitch mess forever. The extensions, the apps, the everything are all third party. All of it is third party. So, for example, the DeepBot competitor that we thought Twitch was working on, that's actually being made by Streamlabs, and we'll get to that in a minute. In fact, the only thing that's really made in-house by Twitch that's an extension isn't actually made by Twitch, it's made by Amazon. TechCrunch reports one extension is called Gear on Amazon, which allows Twitch creators to show off their favorite Amazon products. If a viewer clicks through to a purchase, the creator will earn a commission through the Amazon Associates program. This extension will be available to both Twitch partners and affiliates. And it's the first time that Twitch streamers will be invited to join the Amazon Associates program. So that opens up another revenue stream for Twitch streamers. Things like that are going to be happening more. GameWisp, that for a while I thought was pretty much done and over with now that the Twitch affiliates program came out, that could see some new love if they work with Twitch into this extensions area. And in fact, some of the other ones that there's already a sneak peek of are enormous. They're big, big changes. For example, let's look at Muxy. Muxy, if you don't know, is a Streamlabs competitor. You tip, the alert comes on screen, that sort of stuff. Some of the things they're working on a cheerleader board. They're looking on an overlay so that you can find out where your viewers are watching from on the entire globe on the fly. Take a temperature of your stream with a quote feels meter. Get feedback with polls. A poll can just show up on stream and they can just click on the video and answer that way. Let's viewers shower you with confetti. If you're into that sort of thing. Get guidance from viewers and watch them collectively draw pictures with the click map. I talked about that earlier. Honestly, the click map thing, that's built for disaster. I can just see I can just see like a Reddit or a 4chan raid go wrong. And just going in and drawing swastikas on people. That's asking for trolling. Show what song's currently playing with Spotify or Pretzel's Now Playing app. Display information about your current Lupin Ball game. I have no idea what that is. And that's just some of what Muxy's working on. But that's nothing compared to what Streamlabs is doing. Streamlabs is pretty much the standard for Twitch interaction. Streamlabs powers the overwhelming majority of follower alerts, donation alerts, bid alerts, all those sort of things. Most overlays you see people using is from Streamlabs. If it's not, it's more than likely from Muxy. And what Streamlabs is working on, they basically built an old bot back to life. Long ago, and by long ago I mean like 5 months ago, there was a bot called Revlo. RevloBot existed for almost 4 years before then. What Revlo did basically was award fake currency to viewers just for watching a stream and allow people to redeem that fake currency for various other things, like saying, all right, streamer, you have to go do 30 push-ups, or I want to go request a song to be played, or give me a Twitter shout-out, and blah, 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 blah. Nowadays, most streamers now use DeepBot or some other version of that sort of system. Streamlabs is now bringing that back, and it has a lot of the same DNA as Revlo. You you can change. Yeah. All right. Let me gather my thoughts here for a minute. This is a lot to take in. Streamlabs will now have their own bot. It will track loyalty points, of which the channel can name them whatever they want, the rate of which the viewers earn it. They can redeem it for a whole number of various things, including doing custom things, such as RevloBot used to do. There's built-in games, in fact, much more interactive games, such as scratch cards, pick a card, treasure chests, and more. The viewers can actually play a little game of Minesweeper right there on their own version of the stream to try and earn more of the currency, picking a card out of 5 to see if they can win more points. Have chests randomly appear on stream. If a viewer clicks on them, they get points that way. Polls, built-in giveaways, built-in music player. And this is just what they're showing off now. I don't think I can stress this enough. I said before, when I saw the beta announced kind of in the corner of the Twitch blog that could be a big deal. Just seeing how many people are working in on this, how much Twitch opened it up and said, you guys, you deal with this, you figure out how to make this happen. This is a very, very, very big deal. And one of the few things that Mixer had over Twitch is gone. And the fact that Twitch has this now over YouTube, which was its next biggest competitor, absolutely buries YouTube as a viable viewer interactive streaming platform. And then back to Bebo. Twitch extensions, more than likely, is probably going to put Bebo development to a halt. Or at least a massive shift on just Bebo focusing on just being OBS first. While a lot of the other features, they're probably going to take a second look at it. It means that Bebo's going to take a look at this and go, okay, maybe instead our bot should look through the Twitch extensions platform instead of doing it our own current way right now. Aoshaw comments, I feel it's a shame everything is now through Twitch and Streamlabs. It means the bot variety will die. It's cool, but it'll kill everything else. Yes and no. Here's what it will do. It will kill DeepBot. DeepBot is going to stop cold. DeepBot needs to seriously reconsider how it's structured right now. Because right now, DeepBot works as the bot runs on your computer, and everything's done through the chat. A lot of people are still going to use that, but it's not going to be as interactive as, say, the Streamlabs thing. Muxy can also be working on what Streamlabs is working on. On top of that, there's plenty of other bots that work with Twitch that also might be working on things involving the Twitch extensions. Nightbot is the first one that comes to mind. Nightbot for the longest time kept saying, yeah, we're working on something involving loyalty points. This could be what Nightbot was working on. Aoshaw also comments, also rip mobile users. They won't be able to use any of this anymore. Yeah. The Twitch extensions, that's one thing I didn't mention. Twitch extensions will first roll out to the main site users, those who actually use it at twitch.tv. If you use the desktop app or the mobile app, these extensions won't be available yet, but they will be soon. And if any of you are wondering what I'm going to be doing on my stream, I don't know. Extensions aren't live yet, but they will be soon. But while we're on the subject of the Twitch extensions, I want to float another thought with you guys here. Those of you who are listening to the podcast now. If you're a common Twitch user, you know this past Wednesday, on August 30th, 2007, there was a massive Twitch outage. It was down for roughly 3 hours. And before then, it was down for about another hour. It was down around the same time I stream. When you actually looked at the Twitch status, the chunk of Twitch that was down was the api.twitch.tv servers. And then the next day, Twitch extensions gets announced. You want to know what I think? I think Twitch wanted to go live with this right away. I think Twitch wanted extensions to go live immediately. I think Thursday, when they announced Twitch extensions, they wanted to be used like that. They wanted at PAX, which is this weekend, by the way. They wanted at PAX for Twitch extensions to be live and streamers to already be using them. But the moment they tried to make the system go live, it took down everything. Now, I have no proof of this. No solid proof of it. But to me, it seems like a no-brainer. Day before API server goes down, next day they announce a huge API overhaul. They tried to put it up last night and it wasn't ready. Which is also why the extensions aren't live right now. For 3 hours, their engineers tried to figure out why the extension system took out the servers. They couldn't figure it out, so they rolled it back. They announced Twitch.tv extensions as planned, but they had to push back the actual real launch date while the engineers figure out exactly what went wrong. Again, just a theory. I'm not 100% certain. But with that, Let's move on to the most adorable graphic card that ever graphic carded. Completely off Twitch streaming as a whole. And back to the most powerful mini card in all of desktop land. This is Gigabyte's GTX 1080 Mini ITX 8G graphic card. It is a graphic card that is only 17 centimeters long in a dual slot package and is well, they don't have the width, but it's not very wide. For those of you who aren't in the metric system, which I imagine a lot of you aren't, seeing as how I am an American streamer and an American podcaster, this thing is roughly, I'd say, like 6 inches long. It's dual slot high. It doesn't extend much from there. It looks about 3.5 inches wide, maybe 4. It basically is a GTX 1080, which is one of the most powerful graphic cards you can get, inside the body of a GTX 1050 sized card. This is an amazingly ideal card to stick into a very small build. Like, say, if you were being challenged to build a super powerful Xbox-sized computer. I'm not sure if someone in my chat currently is trying to actually issue actual news to me, or is just giving me a quick watch this YouTube video for me pitch. I'm going to stick to actually doing the podcast like an actual professional broadcaster would. How about that? The bottom line is that this Gigabyte GTX 1080 Mini ITX card, hands down, the most powerful mini card that you could possibly get into a desktop. Ideal for those tight mini box builds. If you're a guy that's trying to build a mid tower or a full size tower, this isn't the card for you. You can just use a regular card. And with that, let's move on to one of the last stories for the day. We'll see if I can get to the last one I have on the list. This one is Acer's passively cooled Switch 7 tablet. That same guy I was just talking about just straight up just went, you want subscribers right now, and then went by, man. Class act. Right there. It's basically the equivalent of some guy just spamming your inbox going, you want $1 million, and then never replying. What an annoying distraction. Alright, anyway. So, IFA 2017 is going on right now, which, off the top of my head, I can't remember what the acronym stands for. But if I remember right, that's mostly a phone conference. But in any case, Acer is doing its best. Its best to make skeptics like me just go, trust me, we're building quality products again. Why won't you believe me? And it's hard for me to believe someone like Acer. After years upon years upon years of poorly built product after poorly built product after buying e-machines after poorly built product. But what Acer has done is that they have built a 2-in-1 tablet and they're building this on some very interesting hardware. The actual processor, which I'm trying to find on this, I believe is an Intel ultra low voltage. Which is cooling both a quad-core 8th generation core processor. Okay, so that's the same processor we talked about last week. Those are all quad-core, ultra-low voltage processors, so a 15-watt processor. And the GPU, which is a GeForce MX 150. I'm not sure exactly what that particular chip is off the top of my head. But the way they claim they're able to cool this is that they have heat pipes running to both chips, and then they have a dual heat pipe loop that they're calling the liquid loop, but it doesn't sound like it's liquid, it just sounds like it's copper. But by using this copper loop around the entire space of the entire chassis, it passively cools it. Effectively all throughout the entire corners of the tablet. If that works, that's extremely interesting. Alright, so I just did a quick look up as to what the GeForce MX 150 is. It is a replacement for the GeForce 940 MX, which I also didn't realize existed. And it's basically an ultra-low voltage gaming GPU that would be just under where the 1050 is. Which, hey, that's great. So you got that, plus a quad-core chip. You know, you got some serious performance there. If you're running Windows 10 on that, hey. Bring a keyboard, which this thing seems to have as a Surface-style cover, and you're off to the races. So, Acer, tell me how much this costs. This sounds like something that I'm finally interested in. Oh. Ships in December, starting at $1,699. You know, for that kind of money, I could just go out and get an actual high-performance computer. An Alienware, an MSI, an Asus, who cares? I could just do that instead. What are you going to do? That's going to do it for me today, guys. Thank you for listening to this podcast. If you have any questions for me, please email me at eaglefalcontech@gmail.com. Take care, rest well, and I'll see you next week. Live Saturday, 12 o'clock noon Central Time. Bye-bye.